So what you're probably going to see happen here in the not too distant future is you're going to see these power purchase agreements where you aggregate people, install solar power systems or possibly even wind systems at locations, and then recoup the energy savings from those locations. It's been a bit slow taking off here in the state of Ohio. You know, California, without a doubt, leads the nation in energy dependency there. But you're starting to see it happening here in Ohio. And if you would, please ask your representatives to support House Bill 113, if I can get a little plug in there. The goal is to have 25% of a school district's schools with renewable energy power systems installed on them by the year 2025. That'll be absolutely critical.
Carl, I see you have a solar panel that you brought there with you today. Can you tell us how that works and how much light it takes to make that work, and how viable is it for the state of Ohio to use solar power?
One of the issues that I deal with, both on an apprenticeship level and in my small business, is education. Believe it or not, the sun does actually shine here in Cleveland, Ohio. I don't know who came up with this idea that, you know, we have less sunlight than, you know, Seattle, Washington, but we get about 4 hours of optimum sunlight, believe it or not, per day on an annual basis, which is significantly better than the country of Germany, which really leads the world in solar energy production. About 70% of their energy is produced using solar equipment and also solar thermal. All of the equipment manufacturers rate their panels in watts, so the amount of power that the panel will do. This is an 80-watt panel. So if you had an 80-watt light bulb in your house, if we put this out in the sun, it would drive that 80-watt light bulb as long as the sun shined. This panel is made by IBW members in Memphis, Tennessee. It's an industry that is really taken off here. Panel manufacturer, inverter manufacturer. We have a great resource over in the city of Toledo with First Solar, some of you are probably familiar with. And they're getting ready to put a new product line out here in the next a month or two, so you may want to take a good look at that. But the panels are relatively efficient. These panels are about 17% efficient right now. This is a crystalline type panel. We also have thin film type equipment, which is, can be put on a flexible substrate. Roofing shingles, clay tile roofs, full building integration. We have window glass that can produce electricity. We can make the entire skin of a building a solar array. All of those products are currently available. This is not necessarily a brand new technology. It's somewhat new here in Northeast Ohio, but not necessarily new, you know, in the world.
Dave, you wanted to weigh in on that quickly?
I might just interject as well. A retired AEP engineer once told me that the output of solar panels almost perfectly matches peak demands in Ohio. So you need to understand what solar is competing against. If its generation is on peak, then it's competing with high-priced natural gas turbines that are coming on just to meet those peak powers. And when natural gas is $13 like it was last summer, it's a pretty neck-and-neck race as to whether solar is more cost-effective or the natural gas-fired plant. Now with natural gas at $3.40, I don't know that we're quite competitive, but that brings up another point, that renewables and efficiency have long-term stable cost projections. The cost of solar per watt's coming down, the cost of wind per watt is coming down, cost of biomass has been consistent, and the cost of efficiency is like any other construction-related option. So if you want low rates, not only now, well, we don't have them, but if you want to stabilize your rates from now out 20 or 30 years, these are the kind of investments you want to make now.
Courtney, you Talked about Green for All's interest in the formerly incarcerated and some of the policies that need to happen to help that along. Are there programs locally that are helping with formerly incarcerated to either get training or this entrepreneurship opportunities?
I'll tell you what I know, Nancy. It's my understanding that the county has organized, and I say that county and a lot of partners in the county broadly have been looking at the issue of reentry into this community. There are thousands of men and women coming back into the community that need a variety of supportive services. And so I know that the community, Tri-C in particular, has been involved in those efforts. I know there is a gentleman at the county, and I refer to Steve Dever, I'm not sure Lewis's last name, but there is somebody who is working at Cuyahoga County who's charged with overseeing a strategy and coalescing a lot of these resources to support this population so that we are working well together. And I know that there are a variety of training programs that are targeted to this population as well. So I think the region boasts a decent amount of support. I can't be more specific than that. I do know that this program at the college is something that the college cares a lot about, both within the green sphere as well as more broadly, because as a woman from a technical college out in LA said, while there may be barriers to employment, community colleges have open access. So there is a place for everybody at a college, and I know Tri-C certainly, as well as its partners around the region, feel that there's a place, whether it's an educational pathway or a career pathway. Although, you know, your point about hope, we sat through the orientation on Monday with our folks, and to a person, I mean, that was expressed. I mean, they see this program and others as the possibility for them to move into stable employment and provide for their families and potentially have a career pathway. And they're very excited about it. And the whole advent of this green economy presents an opportunity to really innovate new ways of making on-ramps for people who are adult learners into this economy. And so it's really important. And I think the county is pretty well positioned to provide supportive services. But you may come up to me after and I'll get you that name of the person at the county, because I think they have a good overview of all the resources.
If I could, I could address a portion of that question. The IBW here in town and a number of other labor unions also have formed a union construction partnership. And one of the programs that came out of that union contractor partnership program is called our ASAP program. It's an apprenticeship skill assessment program. And it's funded by our unions in this area. And it's a program designed for people who have gone down a different path earlier in their life and have decided to make a change in direction. We here in Local 38 have signed on to that ASAP program. So it's a direct entry program into our apprenticeship program, whereby we can take people who've decided to make a change in a direction in their life and direct entry into our apprenticeship program. We're also signed on to our Helmets to Hard Hats program, which is direct entry into our apprenticeship program from active duty military. So our union's been very proactive, and a number of other unions too. I don't mean to just promote ours, but a number of unions have been very proactive in recruiting people from those areas, from recently incarcerated or certainly, you know, we take a great deal of pride in accepting veterans who served our country.